Good morning, everyone. Excited about this week's Broker Minute, the exciting topic of escrow money. Kind of a review. We've gone over this before. However, this time we're going to talk specifically on the disclosure of the escrow being received. Two places this comes up. We've seen this come up a handful of times over the last few months, so I want to make sure that we're all on the same page. So as always, we're going to jump to the contract and license law to figure out how we interpret how this should be handled. So escrow is determined, the policy of it's determined in paragraph in section 5 of the contract, how much is going to be deposited, whether or not it's accompanying the offer, or if it's going to be deposited by a later date. Now, unless you are actually have been handed the earnest money from the buyer and you're submitting it and then turning it in, then it should be set that it's going to be received by a later date. And then my opinion is that you should actually have your client do that, because then you don't have to worry about being the person that delivers the escrow money. You don't even have to take possession of it. It's not in our best interest to be holding on to escrow money since we are not the escrow agent. So let's jump back into it. So you'll say a date right here that it is to be submitted by 6 p.m. And then the last sentence of the paragraph is where it really talks about what could happen should the earnest money not be turned in on time, which basically says if it's not turned in on time, the seller may, not has to, but may terminate the contract by delivering notice of termination to the buyer. Understand that your buyer is at risk of the seller unilaterally terminating the contract if they have not received the earnest money by the date above. Now, here's where we need to be paying attention. If you are the seller's agent, you obviously want to be paying attention to this and make sure you have some sort of acknowledgement that you've gotten it. An acknowledgement can be an email from an attorney. It can be an acknowledgement form that an attorney has. Anything along those lines. If you are a buyer's agent, if your buyer has not turned in the earnest money, it is your duty to disclose that to the selling agent. This is not something where you want to not disclose this. Here's specifically why. If you turn to license law, this is the section talking about denial for license as well as any sort of disciplinary action. Scroll down, number 20, always the bearer of bad news, fails to disclose in accordance with blah, 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 a known material fact concerning a real estate transaction. The earnest money not being deposited by the deadline is a known material fact. Now, I'm not saying that anybody would do this intentionally or anything like that. You get wrapped up in everything that's going on. You're doing inspections, yada, yada, yada. Bottom line is, if you don't receive it or they have not turned it in, it is just as much your duty as the buyer's agent as it is the seller's agent to follow up with this to make sure that this has been done. And as soon as you do find out as the buyer's agent it wasn't turned in, you need to let the selling agent know. That's it. Keeping it short and sweet. Always fun times when we're talking license law and earnest money. Call me if you have any questions. Have a great week. Appreciate everyone and look forward to chatting with you soon. Take care.